For the past 6 years, I have been preparing a full Thanksgiving feast for my family all by myself. And over the years, I have found a few tips and tricks that makes preparing Thanksgiving dinner just a little bit easier so that on Thanksgiving Day, I can actually enjoy spending time with my family instead of being tired and overwhelmed from being in the kitchen and cooking all day and on my feet. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you how I prep for Thanksgiving dinner. Hello and welcome. My name is Heaven. I am a stay-at-home mom and wife. I have a 3-year-old toddler boy named Noah J, and here I vlog about all things motherhood and lifestyle. I create helpful, realistic, and relatable content for you all, so if that's something that you're into, definitely subscribe to my channel. I post twice weekly and I would love to have you here. But let's go ahead and get into today's video. The goal is that you all will be watching this on Thanksgiving Day so that maybe you can kind of just play it in the background while you prep your dinner as well. So it'll kind of just be like we're cooking together, kind of like a day in the life cook with me video, and we can spend a little bit of time together for the holiday. I am also hoping that this video will give you some helpful insight on how you can make prepping for holiday dinners a little bit easier in your life as well. So first, let me go ahead and just give you the rundown on what's going to be on our holiday spread. So we're going to be doing a ham, 2 Cornish hens, greens, dressing, mac and cheese, 2 pans of yams, 1 for my home, 1 for my mom's, 2 sweet potato pies, 1 for my home, 1 for my mom, homemade yeast dinner rolls, and a 3 flavored pound cake. It is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, and it's already a little bit late in the day. It's 2 o'clock, so I kind of got a late start, but that's okay. Alright, so I went ahead and put my hair up into a ponytail because I don't think my family will appreciate hair in the food. And in the past, I have never used like recipes. I've always just cooked based on like memory and kind of just looking and tasting. But whenever someone asks me for my recipe, I don't have one. My husband has even mentioned that sometimes like he will notice that the food will taste a little bit different. It'll still taste good, but he said he will notice that it's not like consistent every year. So that I can kind of just have a recipe that I'll use every year so that I can create some consistency and so that I can pass these recipes down to my children and my grandchildren one day, I decided to go ahead and create like a little recipe book. So I purchased this little box from Michael's. It looks like a box. And then I can just open it up and I can place my recipe cards inside of them so that I'll have this little recipe book that's actually a box with all of my recipes inside of it. Right now the oven is preheating to 425 because I'm going to put my sweet potatoes in there and let them bake for an hour so that once they come out, they'll be able to cool off. And then I also have a pot here so that I can start cooking my pasta noodles, and I'm also going to be preparing the meats that I'm putting in the dressing and the greens. But I'll explain everything like as I'm going. So let's go ahead and just get set up here on the countertop. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get started. So I got a bunch of sweet potatoes here on the counter, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just rinse them off, and then I'm gonna pierce them so that I can put them in the oven. All right, so I'm gonna be using 2 pounds of sweet potatoes, so I just put it on my scale, and this is 2.25 pounds. So because every year the yams will range in size, you don't know if you're gonna be needing 2 or 3 sweet potatoes, so I always weigh them to be either 2 pounds of sweet potatoes or 2 cups of pureed sweet potatoes. I'm just piercing a few holes in it to help it bake a little bit faster, and I'm gonna put several of them in here. I can just boil these on the stove, but I prefer to bake them. That pasta is on the stove, and I'm gonna let that come into a boil, and then after it comes to a boil, then I'm going to let it boil on low until it's al dente, which is not fully cooked but almost cooked. In the morning when it's time for me to bake my mac and cheese, all I have to do is take out the al dente noodles, which I'm going to store in the fridge overnight. Just take them out, pour them in a pan, and then just add like the milk, the egg, and the cheese and the seasonings and things like that, so that's one step I don't have to do in the morning. I can have fresh mac and cheese made tomorrow, but I'm cutting down that time by preparing the pasta ahead of time. I'm also going to make my dinner rolls today, and then I'm going to store them away overnight in the morning, I just have to put them back into the oven and let them warm up. Okay, so I gotta take off my wedding ring so I don't get dough in it. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and just start prepping the dinner rolls, and while I'm doing that, since this is a day in the life, I'm gonna just go ahead and update you all on how my morning went and how I got here to this point. So we woke up around 8:30, Noah and I, and we kind of just sat around in the bed for a little while, and then after we got out of the bed, it was like freezing in the house, so we kind of just drank some hot cocoa and we had some coffee, and we just sat in the bed and we watched some of like Noah's cartoons until we were like fully awake. So since the kids are out of school for Thanksgiving break, we just decided to go ahead and use today as a break day as well, because I could really use some extra time prepping for Thanksgiving dinner. So we just read some books this morning while we were in bed, and then I got up and we got our day started. Noah went downstairs with my husband because I had to go out and tour this facility that I want to use for my husband's 30th birthday. I had to go out and tour this facility and just run a few like shopping errands and things like that. And I got there and realized after touring the facility that I had left my wallet, so I didn't have my license, I didn't have my money or anything. So I told the lady I will come right back. I came home and I was looking for, you know, all of those things, only to realize that the whole time it actually was in the car with me in the passenger seat, but it was like buried under a bunch of my husband's stuff in my passenger seat of my truck. So that was annoying. But nevertheless, I went out and got the things that I needed to get done, and then came back home and made some lunch, and here I am now prepping food for Thanksgiving tomorrow. So all I'm doing is mixing in 6 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter with a 4th cup of sugar until it's like well combined. Just sugar and butter.
I am flying or deep down by the sea, anywhere we wish to be. When we're loved, we're happy.
Alright, so the bread is already starting to rise and it still has about 40 more minutes to go. And the sweet potatoes have about 10 minutes left. And I just placed all of my pork on the stove to cook. So this is going inside of my greens, but I have to just cook it first so that tomorrow all I need to do is throw it in the greens. So I'm going to cook it and chop it tonight, and then tomorrow I'll throw it inside of the greens.
Time to shine a brighter light in our world. Time for unity and peace. Come and see how great we can be. Come together, we're all family. Come together, we're all family.
the rolls have finished rising, so I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven. And I have already begun peeling the sweet potatoes. So I have about 2 more to peel, and then I'll go ahead and start chopping those up. These are all of my potatoes. So I got a bowl of them here, and I'm just going to go ahead and chop them up and then place them back into the bowl so that they can soak in some water. And then I'm going to store them away for tomorrow. I know a lot of people, they choose to just boil their yams or sweet potatoes before they like cut them or peel them or even bake them, because it's easier to peel them and easier to cut them when you boil them first. But like I mentioned earlier, I don't know, I just like to do mine this way. It preserves some of the flavor, and then when you go to bake them, it will have more time in the oven to kind of just like soak up all of the different flavors and kind of just like slow cook. It's like the difference between like slow cooking something or cooking something on high heat. I will choose to slow cook it every time. So if you boil the sweet potatoes first, then you know everything goes faster, peeling, cutting, baking. But I feel like when you just put some love and some tender love and care into it, it comes out so much better. So half of these potatoes are going to be for home, and then the other half is going to go to my grandmother's house. My mom and my grandmother are cooking there, so I'm going to take them some rolls, some sweet potato pie, and some yams. All right, so this is that golden brown color that I'm looking for, so I'm going to melt some honey butter, and then I'm going to brush some honey butter across these, and then take them out of the pan and set them on a cooling rack to cool. Alright, so I got a bigger bowl here for the yams, so they're all in this big bowl here, and then I mixed the macaroni in with a little bit of olive oil. And then here I have the greens that I cleaned and already like tore up into small pieces off of the stem, and I actually have them in cold water inside of this little bag here. At this point, I am pretty much just cleaning up my mess and getting ready to prepare for dinner, for today. But I have my pie in the oven and I have my cake just sitting here, waiting for the pie to come out of the oven. So once the pie comes out the oven, then I'll put my cake in the oven, and then I'll be done prepping for the night. Down in here, I put the greens in there with the rest of the vegetables. So there are the greens with like all the other vegetables that I chopped up. So they're in there. These are the rolls, the pasta. Those are the yams, and they're still in cold water. And then back there, that's the meat that cooled off, the neck bones and the ham hocks. Besides that, the pasta is ready for the macaroni and cheese. All I have to do is add in like all the dairy items and then bake it in the oven. I'll let the cheese melt and let everything stick together. And then the meat is up for the greens, and the greens are cleaned and I soaked them. So first I scrubbed them, like I literally scrubbed them like this in between my hands, each leaf one by one, and then I peel them off the stem, break them up, and then I wash them like this in warm water and vinegar, like I'm washing, like hand washing clothes or something. And I just kind of like twirl them around and wash them like this, and then I soak them inside of like cool water and vinegar for a little while, and then I rinse them, and then I do it again, and then rinse them one more time, and then I store them in cool water inside the fridge, so they're still kind of soaking overnight. Tomorrow I'll strain them again, rinse them through again, and all I have to do is toss them inside of a stock pot with like some chicken stock. I'm gonna saute the vegetables that I've already chopped up, toss those in there as well, and then add in the meat that I already cooked. I'm glad that I was able to get a head start today, and I feel that tomorrow I'll be done cooking very, very early. I'm ready to go ahead and get it done and just enjoy the holiday. So I hope that you guys enjoyed, you know, this kind of like Thanksgiving prep with me and just spending like the day with me, like a real raw, realistic, and unfiltered day. Like I got all of these baggy like little house clothes, and I got like flower splotches all over. Like you can literally hear my husband downstairs yelling on the video game. So this is a very real and raw, realistic day in the life. I'm just prepping for Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video here because I have to go ahead and get myself cleaned up, and I have to edit this video if I want to get it out by tomorrow. On Thanksgiving, I'll just be popping in on like the community tab and just sharing a post, wishing you guys all a happy Thanksgiving, and I'm just hoping that you all get to spend it with family and break bread around the table and fellowship together. We're just thankful over here that the Lord has put food on our table. So let me know, what are some of the things that you do to prepare for Thanksgiving dinner so that when Thanksgiving comes, you kind of just make the process go along faster. The first time that I prepared Thanksgiving dinner, it wasn't done until 5-6 o'clock in the afternoon. But now I am normally able to be done with that well before afternoon, like done in the morning. So let me know what you guys do. Also, you know, any tips or tricks that you all have to share with me to make this process go a lot smoother. Again, happy Thanksgiving to you all and your family. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. Thank you, as always, for watching my video. That'll be all for today. Until next time.